All right, let's dive into a huge question that pretty much every organization is grappling with right now. When it comes to something as critical as regulatory compliance, do you go with a jack-of-all-trades AI, or do you really need a specialist? Well, we put them head-to-head to find out.
So here's the big question on everyone's mind. You've got these incredibly powerful large language models like ChatGPT, and a lot of leaders are asking, hey, can we just use this and finally ditch our expensive, specialized compliance software? Is a generalist AI really good enough? That's what we're here to figure out.
In one corner, you've got the heavyweight champ of generalist AI, ChatGPT5. Everyone knows it, it's incredibly versatile, and in the other corner, you have a specialist engine, ComplyIQ360, which was built from the ground up for one job and one job only: audit-grade compliance analysis. The setup was simple. We gave them the exact same IT policies and said, go to work, tell us what you find.
Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. Our analysis doesn't start where you'd think, with them disagreeing. Nope, it starts with them actually agreeing on something. And honestly, that's what makes this so deceptive.
So we're looking at this company's incident response plan, right? And boom, right out of the gate, both AIs flagged the exact same problem. The company was only testing their plan every 2 years, and both of them, ChatGPT and the specialist, correctly said, nope, that's not good enough. You need to be doing this every year. So right away, you're thinking, okay, looks like a tie.
And this really tells you something important. When it comes to the simple stuff, the really straightforward black and white gaps, is the number 1 or 2? Is it annual or biennial? Both of them can nail it. But, and this is a huge but, that's where the similarities just screech to a halt. This first agreement, it's totally deceptive.
So what happens when you go deeper, when you move past that easy surface-level check? Well, let me tell you, the moment you dig just one layer down, the whole picture just flips upside down. Let's take a look at what was hiding just beneath the surface. Remember that incident response plan? Well, ChatGPT found that frequency issue and then it just stopped. That's it, end of analysis. But the specialist tool, it kept digging, and it found something huge, a critical flaw that ChatGPT completely whiffed on. The plan's scope was way too narrow. It only covered cyber incidents, totally ignoring the much broader category of information security threats.
And you might be thinking, cyber, information security, what's the difference? Well, it's a massive deal. This is not just about words. A cyber incident is like a hack. But what if someone physically walks out the door with a stack of sensitive documents? Or an angry employee intentionally leaks customer data? Under this plan, none of that would even trigger a response. That's not a gap, that's a catastrophic failure waiting to happen.
And the specialist AI was just getting warmed up. It then found another problem. The company's procedures completely forgot about a mandatory filing they had to make to a specific government regulator, in this case, OVIX-A. ChatGPT has no idea about these niche, jurisdiction-specific rules. So, crickets. It said nothing. And let me be clear, missing a required submission like that is a one-way ticket to non-compliance. We're talking big fines, legal trouble, the works. It's such a simple procedural step, but if you miss it, the consequences can be incredibly expensive.
And the list of missed gaps just kept growing. Let's look at security training. ChatGPT, it didn't even evaluate it, just skipped right over it. The specialist, though, it dug in and found a huge problem. The company was using this generic cookie-cutter training for everyone. There was nothing special for the people with the highest levels of access, the ones who can do the most damage.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your system admin, the person with godlike access to everything, should not be getting the same security training as a marketing intern. The people with the keys to the kingdom need training that's specific to their role and the risks they face. Without that, you've basically got a huge, ticking time bomb of an insider threat. Okay, so up to this point, we've seen the generalist AI just be incomplete. It missed a lot of things. But what happens when it's not just missing things, but it's actually wrong? This next bit is really the clincher. And this is the real shocker. We asked them both to look at the company's multi-factor authentication setup. ChatGPT came back and said, partial compliance. It flagged it as a problem, setting off a false alarm. But the specialist tool, it looked at the very same evidence and came to the complete opposite conclusion. Compliant. It correctly said everything was fine. Let that sink in. Same data, 2 AIs, completely different answers. So you have to ask, how on earth does that happen?
Well, it all comes down to their methodology. ChatGPT does what we call a surface reading. It read some conditional language in a policy document and just assumed there was a gap. It took the words at face value. The specialist tool, on the other hand, performed evidence integration. It didn't just read one document, it cross-referenced multiple documents, connecting the policy to the actual procedure guides and found the proof that the control was fully implemented. It wasn't just reading, it was auditing.
So after all that, what's the takeaway? Is ChatGPT useless for compliance? Absolutely not. That's not the point. The real answer isn't about picking a winner. It's about being smart. It's about knowing you have a toolkit and understanding which tool to pull out for which job.
Here's a good way to think about it. ChatGPT is like a really powerful flashlight. It's fantastic for shining a light around quickly, getting a fast summary for your stakeholders, or spotting those really obvious surface-level problems. It's a strategic tool for a quick look around.
The specialist tool, on the other hand, that's not a flashlight. That's the architect's blueprint. You would never try to build a skyscraper with just a flashlight, right? You need a detailed, precise blueprint. And that's what this is for. It's for the deep, evidence-based, legally defensible work you need for a real audit. It's all about precision, proof, and being able to defend your position.
So at the end of the day, we need to change the conversation. It's not about which tool is better, it's about which strategy is smarter. The most successful organizations out there, they're not going to choose between the flashlight and the blueprint. They're going to have both in their toolbox, and they'll know exactly when to use each one to build something truly strong and compliant. And that really brings us to the final crucial question, one for you to think about. Look, AI is here. Your organization is probably using it in some way already. But what this whole comparison shows is that just using AI isn't the answer. The real question you need to be asking is this: are you strategically using the right AI for the right compliance job?